Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. The 28th, 29th, 30th and 31st Pauri of Japji Sahib is a series of 4 verses. All of them end with a common phrase, Ades Tise Ades Ad Anil Anad Anahat Jug Jug Eko Ves. In these 4 stanzas, Guru Sahib is looking at the way of yogis, how they dress up, how they eat, how they live their lives as ascetics. And he takes out the spiritual wisdom to give their way of life by converting certain things. Interestingly, ਜਿਹੜੀ 3 ਪੌੜੀਆਂ ਨੇ, the first 3 ਪੌੜੀਆਂ, 28, 29, 30, I feel they are all in a set of 3, as if he's trying to address the topic of Trinity. And it'll come later in the 30th pauri about Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. That Trinity is something that yogis believed a lot. I feel that is why he addressed all the lines of these 3 pauris in a set of 3. The last pauri, he doesn't do that. I feel it is an intentional thing done. So let us start with the 28th pauri. He says, Munda Santokh Sharam Pat Choli Dhyan Ki Karan Vibhut. He looked at yogis and they would have certain things that were an insignia of their representation, how they dressed, how they lived, how they behaved, how they carried certain things to be able to ask for alms. So if they were wearing earrings and they had certain kind of begging bowl, or they wore certain kind of clothes, then Guru Sahib gave spiritual message to them, but also through them to all of us. So he says, instead of you wearing the earrings to calm your mind down, which is what the yogis believe, he says you should have contentment in your heart to calm yourself down. Munda Santokh. Hey yogi, tu Santokh diya mundran pa. While saying that, I also have to say, in some other video I will discuss how everything is not being condemned by Guru Sahib. But because his subject is a very advanced one, spiritually advanced, so while he seems to be condemning certain things that we take it literally, but what he's doing is he's saying, don't stay here, please go forward. For example, if you're holding a rosary, mala, and a lot of us, we read lines in Gurbani that say, Kabir japni kaat ki kya dikhlawen loye, hriday ram na chete, e japni kya hoye? Japni means mala. And Kabir Sahib is saying, if you do not have Lord's name inside your heart, then what is the point of rotating the rosary? Now, rosary can be helpful for certain people to start doing meditation, etc. But when it becomes a facade, when it only becomes a show for other people, it becomes only a ritual, is when Gurbani condemns it, when it becomes a facade. But it's not like condemning it as per se, you shouldn't use it or you should throw it away. So I want to clear it out in some other video with you. But here also, if somebody's wearing earrings, it's not that everything has got to be a criticism on everything that people are wearing or doing. So let's take the spiritual aspect with which Guru Sahib is talking about. Okay? He says, instead of wearing the earrings and thinking you can cool your mind down, have contentment within your heart, which will satiate you. Munda Santokh Sharam Pat Choli. And Patra ya Choli, Patre da matlab hunda hai begging bowl. And instead of asking people for your livelihood, instead of begging for alms, he says, work hard. Sharam has two meanings. Over here, the meaning which is applicable most probably is shram karna, work hard. So he's balancing out things here. And it's a trilogy. In the same line, there are 3 points always. He says, Munda Santok, Sharam Pat Choli. Apna begging bowl jada hai, instead of going out to beg from other people for your livelihood, work hard and provide that to yourself and other people. Dhyan ki karan vibhut, and they would smear ashes on their body. So he says, instead of smearing ashes and becoming an ascetic, smear your conscience with mindfulness. ਧਿਆਨ ਕਰੋ, ਉਸ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਕਰੋ ਜੋ ਹਰ ਜ਼ਰਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਸਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ, ਹਰ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਸਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ. So if you become meditative, there are 3 alternatives he gives to the things that they are either wearing or holding. Munda Santok, Sharam Pat Choli, Dhyan ki karan vibhut. And if yogis wore a patched cloth, a patched coat, he says, wear the awareness about death. Let the awareness of death, that one day we all are going to die, be that patched coat. Kintha kal, kal means death. Kwari kaya jugat. Kwari kaya actually, in literal sense, it means virgin body. But here Guru Sahib is saying a body that hasn't been tormented by the desires of the mind. Let your body be pure. You don't abuse it by taking bad foods or alcohol or any kind of drugs or addictions. And you don't torture yourself. You take good care of your body. That is Kwarikaya. But they always believed in celibacy, which is something that Guru Sahib is saying, instead of doing that, have Kwarikaya means don't have a body that is tormented by the desires of the mind. E jugat banao. Danda partit. And they would always hold a cane to walk. He says, make faith as that danda. So again, 3 things. Ai Panthi. Yogis always believed that the best sect of theirs was Ai Panth. He says, Ai Panthi Sagal Jamati. See God in everyone. The brotherhood of mankind, make this as the biggest or the best sect of yours. Man jeeta. Learn how to conquer your mind. Jagjeet. And yogi, if you're trying to conquer or convert the whole world, instead of converting the world, convert your own mind. Again, 3 things. Then he says, Ades, this Ades. I bow to that supreme divine Lord who is everywhere. Ades, this Ades. Ad, Anil, Anad, Anahat. Ad means the one that has been there from the beginning, the primal one. Anil means the unblemished, the purest light. Anad means the one that had no beginning. Anahat means the one that has no ending. Ad, Anil, Anad, Anahat. Again, Jug Jug Eko Ves. In all ages, that primal one has one form. Not divided into 3 or Trinity, it is one. Let's go on to the 29th. He goes with the division of 3. Pugat Gyan Daya Pandaran Kat Kat Vajanad. Yogis always begged for food. He says, let the wisdom, the divine wisdom, be your greatest food. Pugat Gyan. Daya Pandaran. Let love and compassion be the attendant. Kat Kat Vajanad. And yogis always believed in listening to the divine sounds. He says, instead of going into that, listen to the sounds of everyone's heartbeat. Learn how to be able to cherish the life that is present in all beings. Let that be the greatest sound in your life. ਘਟ ਘਟ ਹਰ ਘਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵੱਜ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਨਾਦ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰ. ਆਪ ਨਾਥ. They always believed in having a nath or guru or a master. He says, make the Lord, the one that is omnipresent in everyone, your master, your greatest master, your greatest guru. Aap nath, nathi sab janki. And instead of finding disciples, let everyone, all the populace, be your disciples that you need to share your wisdom with. Aap nath nathi sab janki, rid sid avra sad. Many yogis believed in Ridya Siddhya. Ridya means the power of attaining certain powers or becoming magical, having such great powers in your hand that you are able to govern. Some of them are like becoming a minimalized person. Some of them have been described as like you become like an ant, or you become gigantic, or you can disappear, or you can guess what is in the other person's heart, or you are able to control the other person. All these magical powers, Guru Sahib says, they shouldn't be a spiritual person's concern. A spiritual person shouldn't be running after these. I remember there was a Sakhi of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. When he met the yogis, they asked him to go to the lake or the pond to go and fetch water for them. And so he did. And they used some kind of miraculous power to convert the water in that lake to become pearls or jewels. And they say, I'm not sure whether it is true or not, Guru Nanak Patsha came back and said, there was no water, Maharaj. And so they asked him, didn't you see something else? He said, no, you told me to go and fetch water, but there was no water. But what about other things? He said, sorry, I didn't see anything else. So he came back and told them that what I am looking for are not these miraculous or magical things or tricks that you perform in front of other people. That is not my interest. Rid sid avra sad. ਇਹ ਹੋਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਵਾਦ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ. Those who are impressed by these things, they are not actually going through a spiritual experience. A lot of us get very impressed by magic or tricks, or we call them miracles. But actually, if you have seen magicians performing on the stage, it seems like a miracle, because how can you do that? But if you go and ask them, and the magicians, I feel, are very honest, because they will tell you it's a magical trick. We have certain art of knowing it. They can guess the numbers in your heart. So many things are there. But they never fool anybody into thinking that they have miraculous powers. A lot of religious people do that. And this is not Guru's way of life. He says, Rid Sid Avra Sad. And they believed a lot in bad luck, good luck, and, palmistry and all that, reading the future, etc., and saying that it's not in your fortune, or it was in your fortune, all that. Guru Sahib says, what is Sanjog? Paramatma de nede hona. To be near divine qualities, ਇਹ ਸੰਜੋਗ ਹੈ. ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਵਿਛੜ ਜਾਣਾ, ਇਹ ਵਿਜੋਗ ਹੈ. ਸੰਜੋਗ ਵਿਜੋਗ ਦੁਇਕਾਰ ਚਲਾਵੇ. ਇਹ ਦੋਵੇਂ ਕਾਰਾਂ, ਇਹ ਦੋਵੇਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਉਹ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਹੀ ਚਲਾਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ. ਅਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ, in ਰਹਿਰਾਸ ਸਾਹਿਬ also we read, ਵਿਜੋਗ ਮਿਲ ਵਿਛੜਿਆ ਸੰਜੋਗੀ ਮੇਲ. ਸੰਜੋਗ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੇਲ. ਵਿਜੋਗ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਵਿਛੜ ਜਾਣਾ. And this is what Guru Sahib is saying here. Sanjog vijog duikar chalave, lekhe ave pag. And you know what is pag? What is the fortune, or what is written inside? Whatever you're doing. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਚੰਗੇ ਭਾਗ ਲਿਖੇ ਜਾਣਗੇ, ਜੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਦੂਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੋ ਤੇ ਮਾੜੇ ਭਾਗ ਲਿਖੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ. And this is the spiritual way of the Guru. Telling the yogis, but through them telling all of us. Ades tisai ades, ਆਦ ਅਨੀਲ ਅਨਾਦ ਅਨਾਹਤ, ਜੁਗ ਜੁਗ ਏਕੋ ਵੇਸ. ਉਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਮਝਣੀ ਹੈ. So we have 2 more bodies in this series, which we will discuss the next time. Thank you very much for listening, ji. Apologies for the mistakes. Vaheguru ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru ji ki Fateh.